As One Punch Man fans, we've become rather used to Downplay over the years. From classics such as Character X would beat Saitama in one hit, all the way to peculiar but amusing oddities like Endeavor having greater lifting strength than Super Alloy Darkshine, or Mina being as fast or even faster than Flashy Flash. Thankfully, most sensible people don't believe this stuff. However, in recent times, a downplay I've seen more in my own experiences has been popping up here and there, and truthfully, I'm hearing it a little more than I would like. This downplay isn't just targeting one person, but near enough the entirety of the hero association itself, and even reflects back on many monsters. So we've got some pretty serious allegations to discuss, since this isn't just an attack on a few heroes, it's something of an attack on the series itself. So to make it clear, I'll put up a few statements to represent the types of comments I've heard in recent months.
One of us is in deep trouble.
A-class heroes are just regular people with weapons. Heroes below S-class are basically like MMA fighters or athletes at the Olympics. Moomin Rider is just a normal guy with a bike. A-class heroes are peak human at best.
What the fuck did you just say, sir?
Okay, by now, I think you've spotted the problem. What people who say this don't understand is not only are these descriptions not true with A-class heroes, it's so wrong that it's not even true with C-class heroes. I'd have found these statements funny, if not for the fact that I've had to read people online say this a number of times in the last few months, which leads me to think there's a sizable amount of people out there who really believe this. But why does this happen? One reason is simple. It's because they overlook how strong they actually are in a vacuum when constantly being compared to a much higher class of power found in the S-class. It could also be because heroes like Death Gatling can appear somewhat normal because by design, he genuinely does just look like a guy with a gun. A big possibility is when you try to imagine popular characters from other franchises in the hero rankings of One Punch Man, as comparisons are only natural. So when you take awesome characters like Daredevil or Captain America, then say they're in either A-class at best or they don't make it to A-class at all, then look at a low-ranked A-class hero like Snekbite Snek, someone who is usually portrayed as being ineffective or comical fodder, it can become hard to accept that Snek would be physically above these iconic heroes. Due to this, some people instead try to rationalize this not being the case by insisting A-class heroes, or other classes, must not be of supernatural quality, and this way, they can explain their favorite characters not being level with or even below heroes who are usually seen as jokes, fodder, or nothing special inside One Punch Man. Many of us know that a character can be incredibly cool and enjoyable regardless of how powerful they are compared to other series, since even though Snek can beat Daredevil in a straight up fight, most would agree that Daredevil is still 100 times a better character than him. However, some unfortunately can't grasp that, and that's one of the other reasons why the power downplay of One Punch Man's lesser heroes still occurs. But no matter, because we'll be defeating both ignorance and agenda in one fell swoop with this video, and we'll do it by making it clear class by class why the heroes below the S tier are not reflective of what most verses consider ordinary humans, and how some are in fact above what many of you would have even initially assumed before watching this video. Before we start with C-class, there's a little something to be said about many regular citizens of One Punch Man's world which gets glossed over by a lot of people. In most verses, non-hero citizens are about as humanly capable as you and I, yet in One Punch Man, ordinary non-hero citizens can be found having far higher potential and more durability than one might imagine. A regular police officer is able to survive a floor-shattering impact from a monster, and even a young Saitama who was not in the possession of any noteworthy power at that age could survive being cratered into a wall. There are more examples, but no need to drag it out. Throw this in with the fact that majority of heroes are just people who trained or fought their way to superhuman levels of power, and it makes it pretty clear that what a normal human is in most verses is not what a normal human is within One Punch Man. This is to make it known that what you're about to see from here on out aren't people born this strong, or the results of radioactive spider bites or mutant genetics. It's just that in this series, there's always a chance that people like you and I could literally train our way into kickboxing at the speed of lightning, or becoming 10-ton lifters. When people claim these lesser heroes are normal people, they don't mean normal in the sense of One Punch Man, because then it'd be a moot statement. What they mean, if you steelman their claim, is they're as normal as conceptual Nightwing, or the Punisher, or someone of that effect who on paper has no powers via official description, but can perform questionable feats despite narratively being Olympic level or peak human. Of course, they're wrong, as even at C-class level, heroes can be above such muddy interpretations of peak human pretty clearly. So when I refer to normal humans from now on, I don't mean One Punch Man normal humans, I mean general normal humans, because that's what people mean when they try to pass off A, B or C class heroes as regular Joes in dress up. And speaking of C class, let's get underway, and what better person to start with than the representative of C class itself, Moomin Rider. When I mention Moomin Rider's power in other videos, I usually like to compare him to Captain America from the MCU, because I think it accurately demonstrates that while Moomin Rider is not blessed with solid levels of super strength or super speed, he's still reflective of what many people would consider an enhanced human due to his physical attributes being solidly above what a normal human can portray, similar to how Captain America is portrayed. However, some people get defensive at hearing me compare a guy who rides a bicycle to one of the greatest Marvel heroes of all time. So they interpret me saying this as if I'm suggesting Moomin Rider could pimp slap Captain America into the dirt, pull his pants down, and then use his patriotic butt cheeks as bongo drums to play the national anthem with. Obviously, that's not what I'm saying, yet somehow comparing Moomin Rider to a super soldier can get someone's back raised. And that's when I have to hear that Moomin Rider is just an ordinary dude who rides a bicycle. First things first, let's take a look at Rider's durability. Rider survives being punched in the face by a monster who can literally one punch through shelters designed to withstand missile fire without a scratch. You might say, well, he didn't hit him full force, which you'd be right about. But the force used is still above what ordinary humans could endure. Rider was punched so hard by a fist bigger than his torso that it literally sent him 20 meters into the air at minimum. This amount of force required to lift a grown man that high through a focused blunt strike to his face and chest from a demon level monster would kill or even explode any normal human. But not only that, Deep Sea King hits him so fiercely there was steam coming off his fist. So no matter how lightly you want to say Deep Sea King went, the level was still enough to cause a steaming effect of his strike and lift Rider dozens of meters into the air from direct impact to his head, thus proving Moomin Rider is no ordinary human. In case that's not enough for you, Moomin Rider also survived having his face smashed into concrete with such force that it sent cracks throughout the ground. Yeah, imagine your face hitting solid concrete so hard that it makes the ground split in multiple directions. That would make an ordinary person's head look like a smashed watermelon. Hell, there's a bunch of characters that you probably think could beat Moomin Rider who wouldn't be able to take that. And when we see him the next day, he's healing just fine in hospital without looking like Jigsaw. From these two instances alone, it's more than clear that a C-class hero can have enhanced or above levels of toughness. Next, Rider's power. In an audiobook titled Sonic Becoming Saitama, Moomin Rider is able to hurt a monster called Angry Grandpa with a punch and kick. This is important because Angry Grandpa is capable of laughing off gunfire, which means Rider is strong enough to harm bulletproof enemies with his own strength. So Rider can hit you harder than bullets can. Furthermore, in a Season 2 OVA, we see Rider do this. He's literally tackling a large monster several times the size of men who can toss adults into the air with ease. Even the world's strongest men wouldn't be able to make this monster budge, but Ryder can. Finally, we can use video games to show the type of strength Ryder also possesses. Here he is swinging his heavy-duty metal bike around like a weapon, being able to hurt and launch monsters with it. Swinging a metal bike around isn't a superhuman feat, but swinging a metal bike around forcefully enough to harm bulletproof supernatural monsters and at blurring speeds is, so understand the difference. What you should realize after this is not only that Moomin Rider isn't some regular guy on a bike, but that he'd also be able to defeat any real-life human in history with a single punch without having his durability ever jeopardized. Moomin Rider would be One Punch Man compared to actually normal people. He is not normal at all. We've even seen how easily Rider negs standard thugs who are bigger than him in the verse. But that's just Moomin Rider, and he's C-Class number 1. The rest of them aren't even close, right?
Wrong.
Speeder Sound Sonic has explosive shuriken, which would be instantly fatal to any human. An explosion from one of these shuriken is capable of leaving holes in the side of buildings or flipping cars through the air. Tank Top Tiger took 3 to the body and not only survived, but stayed in one piece. Anyway, pretty clear that other C-Class can have such superhuman durability. This would be a Mortal Kombat fatality if Tank Top Tiger was a normal dude. And finally, we have D-Pad for another showcase. This man was not only strong enough to uppercut a man into the air like it were a Shoryuken, which is as clear a showing of enhanced strength as you'll ever need, but he was also able to swing his partner around at such blurring speeds that it defeated about 5 men simultaneously. The strongest man in real human history would not be able to swing a grown adult around as fast as D-Pad swung funeral suspenders, and D-Pad is a run-of-the-mill C-Class hero. Hopefully you can now understand why I compare C-Class heroes to super soldiers from Marvel as an easy reference for their physicality, and in some cases they actually look above that to me, so it's not even hard to imagine them being above that too at times. What's very clear is that C-Class heroes are not ordinary people the way you and I know it. Pour one out for the people who thought this description fit A-Class heroes, because we're at C-Class and they're already debunked, so it's tough. And as a quick side note, in the bonus chapter, Numbers, Child Emperor's power assessing device makes it known that C-Class heroes are above even the regular humans of the verse due to their efforts. So a standard C-Class hero like Red Muffler is assessed to be above normal people in One Punch Man's own material too. B-Class is a step above C, but for the majority of B-Class, they're not worlds away. Here we have people like Wildhorn who can use his equipment to completely smash a large tree's trunk in a single blow. Yes, it's from his gear, but him being in this class means he has above C-Class level physicality to both handle the weapon and keep up in other stats. The issue here, which I can understand, is people see B-Class heroes like Gun or Shooter and just assume these are regular bums with weapons you could stick up a 7-Eleven with, but they forget that Gun and Shooter being in B-Class means their gear is stronger than traditional weaponry, and in some way or another, they're physically on par or above with what the best C-Class heroes have to offer, and we already established their strengths. This, again, is just a case of B-Class looking like normal people when compared to actual physical maniacs like Garo, which in turn makes viewers forget that they too are superhuman but just at a significantly lower level than people like Garo. We also have heroes like Darkness Blade, who can withstand taking hits from large monsters and come away with just cuts and bruises, which, while the situation makes him look like a bum, actually proves he has superhuman durability to be able to fight a monster as large and deadly as this, take hits, and not come away in pieces even if he lost. He also got hit so hard by a demon level monster that the strike broke through his sword and smashed him straight in the face. Any attack to the head which can snap through a blade designed to defeat bulletproof monsters is going to kill a standard person, and Darkness Blade took it to the face and was able to resume work as a hero after this situation resolved itself. I'm not gonna lie, I feel pretty bad for Darkness Blade. All his best feats are him getting his ass kicked. Alternatively, You had B-class heroes like Needle Star wielding a heavy ball and chain with the greatest of ease, pulverizing durable monsters at impressive speeds, and then there's Mizuki who can throw a javelin strong enough to impale a monster, and not only that, but then swing it around like it weighs nothing while battering surrounding monsters and then launching it through a crowd of them for the fun of it. Again, to clarify, swinging something heavy around and swinging something heavy around strongly and quickly enough to defeat literal supernatural beings with the force generated are two completely different tiers of ability. As you can see rather clearly, B-class generally hold all the same physical capabilities of C-class, but at an even higher level as required by what they face, and are able to harm monsters who all regularly possess supernatural elements of strength, speed, and durability above the limits of what ordinary humans as we know it could contest. Even members of the Blizzard group are able to withstand being brutally forced through walls and buildings which would kill regular humans, and members like Mountain Ape can hurl chunks of rock into the air at blurring speeds. So yeah, building off what we've seen in C-class, B-class are pretty clearly superhuman as the standard and fight upfront battles against literal monsters who wouldn't even be tickled by a common weaponry, so they're comfortably above terms like peak human or, God forbid, Olympic level. We've already made it clear that A-class are superhuman by the C and B-class areas alone, but why stop there when there's still so much fun left to be had? Anyone who thinks A-class heroes are athlete level or peak human needn't look any further than Stinger. What do I think about someone saying he's athlete level?
It's very, very important. I think it's a huge mistake.
Check the screen. Through the sheer power of his own physicality, Stinger twirls his spear with such speed and strength that it causes him to propel into the air like a freaking helicopter.
Wow.
I can't speak for you guys, but my favorite part of the Olympics is where the Olympians are able to twirl their equipment around so quickly that they take literal fucking flight. Oh, wait. That doesn't happen because it's not possible for any ordinary human, or even peak and enhanced humans. This is the type of wacky strength you'd see MASH do from Muscles and Magic. Captain America ain't doing this, Wolverine ain't doing this, even countless concrete superhumans like Soldier Boy or Queen Maeve can't do this. So what's all this about A-class heroes being a bunch of Conor McGregors?
BR, where are you? Please.
Once he's in the air, he's using his own striking power to pound this spearhead through huge, dense sea monsters which have supernatural levels of durability. He strikes so hard in one fell swoop that he leaves large, gaping holes in each of them with single blows at a speed none of them can react successfully to. Athlete level human, everybody. Truthfully, Stinger alone completely debunks the idea that A-class are anything less than superhuman in their preferred capabilities, but I'll throw some more in while we're here. I'm not going to be as detailed in spelling it out from this point because it should be pretty clear that there's no cynical leg to stand on anymore when it comes to A-class being in this league of power. But anyway, we have Lightning Max who can kick at the speed of lightning, which is backed up by the databook multiple times, actual paneling, and through relative scaling with other A-class heroes. So how good is that peak human scaling again?
Fantastic. Fantastic.
Also absolutely clear that it's not hyperbole. If you said someone could hit as fast as lightning in John Wick or Hajime no Ippo, you could take it as hyperbole since no one in those series can actually do that feats-wise or via narrative suggestion. In One Punch Man, being fast as lightning actually makes you pretty damn slow compared to a substantial number of characters. So this is something very achievable in this verse, and expected from in A-class with or without gear. Additionally, on superhuman durability, Max can even take being punched so hard in the stomach by a demon level monster that it sends him flying from one side of the street to the other and crashing through a building structure. Then he gets back up and is prepared to continue fighting, so even though many view him as a bum in A-class, he can actually take a punch that flatten loads of characters people think would beat him. Then we have Heavy Tank Loincloth who can smash a hole into the floor with a single strike. No explanation needed. Or maybe someone still thinks it's the gear, and it's the towel around his waist that's giving him this power. And don't get me wrong, Some A-class specialize in gear. Blue Fire uses a flamethrower, and Death Gatling uses a Gatling gun. This doesn't take away from the fact that they require A-class level attributes to withstand and keep pace against Tiger level and sometimes even Demon level threats who can attack them at speeds as fast or faster than lightning, and can strike enough to smash through concrete and large structures with single hits. If Blue Fire or Death Gatling were normal, they'd be made mincemeat out of no matter what weapon they walked around with. To be an A-class means by default, you are above ordinary humans at a significant level when it comes to your overall attributes. Otherwise, you'd just be speed blitz and one shot. Even a strong tiger like Kombu Infinity was putting Spring Mustachio in trouble, and Spring Mustachio is quick enough to not only parry a lot of those tentacle strikes at supernatural combat speeds, but can decimate numerous foes with a flurry of pierces in an instant, further making it clear of the speeds required at A-class, which would blitz peak humans and many enhanced humans who don't have specialty in consistent combat speed. Also got heroes like Great Philosopher, who can shoulder barge a large crocodile monster off its feet, and has an attack called 3 Tons Philosophy, where he strikes you with his large book. 3 tons comes to over 4,000 pounds, whacking you on the head. I think a knock like that could give a well-needed reset to some people who've seen all these feats and decided A-class heroes are getting dunked on by Black Widow. Don't think I'm letting you escape on Snekbite Snek either. I'll keep it quick. Snek was able to avoid an initial attack from Hydrated Deep Sea King. This alone makes him way faster in battle than any ordinary human and most, if not all, peak human or enhanced type humans, since Deep Sea King typically ranges around massively hypersonic speeds. Secondly, Snek is not a pushover unless you're a demon. He survived being thumped by the Deep Sea King who hit him so hard he went flying across hundreds of people. This kills anyone without powers. Fact. One more impressive one is where Goketsu literally punted Snek so hard he went flying out of a stadium. Yes, he got booted so high he can legitimately say he flew on Goketsu Airlines. The best part? He not only survived the hit, not only survived the fall from the sky, but he then came back within minutes and continued to fight, and then proceeded to parry a tiger level crow monster and even one-shotted it alongside Suryu and Max, which actually means the lowest ranked A-class hero, aside from Saitama, has around town level attack potency since the 3 crows together amount to demon level. Laugh at Snek all you want, but he could bury so many street level heroes, since for one, they'd barely be able to even hurt him given what he can endure, and for two, he can literally leave a hole in the chest of a town level monster with one double palm strike at the speed of lightning. So he's one-tapping anyone who doesn't have consistent showings reflective of his own physicality. I know most of you who watch this channel already know that these lesser heroes are still very respectable heroes in their own way. However, I did want to put this video out there making it clear to those who don't. So, if you ever hear someone saying Moomin Rider is just a regular dude on a bike, or that A-class heroes are athlete level humans being carried by gear, just link them this video. Then you'll be able to find out if the person you're talking to is capable of being honest and changing their view, or if they'll out themselves as the type of person who's committed to maintaining a lie just so they can save face. This video doesn't account for any anomalies or special cases, and there's even more examples than these for all 3 of the sections. In fact, the A-class area could get even nastier if you included Atomic's disciples, but I think the point has been made using a variety of differently ranked heroes from each, and is even more effective since I didn't even need to touch the top 3 or 4 of A-class to make it. This isn't really a video I made for views, it's a video I made to make a message clear. So like and subscribe if you enjoyed it, and I'll catch you guys on the next one.